What's up, everybody? In this video, I go over what eggs are, the most sustainable way to get them, and pro tips for recipes. So, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Am I right? It's the egg. Eggs are a part of sexual reproduction. Oviparity came on the scene around 325 million years ago by amniotes. You know, lizards and turtles and birds and such. We've been eating eggs since then. Domestication of chicken only happened about a couple thousand years ago. Cockfighting actually is what led to the large-scale distribution of chickens around the world. Vitamin B12, riboflavin, vitamin B5, and vitamin A help regulate critical body function and are also found in egg. Tons of proteins are present, notably phenylalanine, tyrosine, and tryptophan. Selenium, phosphorus, and iron are all present in trace amounts as well. There's reasonably high cholesterol associated with eggs, and there's a considerable amount of saturated fat. Supplement eggs with fibrous greens and healthy sugars for a well-rounded meal. And, nutrition-wise, eggs are, in essence, a very small baby animal. Salmonella, duh. It's virtually impossible to tell what egg has salmonella without a lab. So think prevention, not detection. The best way to prevent disease is to buy from humane sources, refrigeration, using them quickly after they're laid, and by cooking them to 165 degrees Fahrenheit internally. Chickens can get a lot of diseases that can be passed on to eggs, so Mississippi State has some good info on avian disease. Everyone does research on eggs. Makes sense. They've been used for food since prehistory of humans. However, in most institutions, eggs are lumped into avian research. Some notable research facilities are the UC Davis Avian Sciences and Iowa State University's Robert T. Hamilton Poultry and Teaching Research Farm. The International Organization for Standardization, the ISO, helped to standardize testing and research practices for eggs. But the Food and Agricultural Organization of the UN really is the world authority on egg-specific data instead of lumping it into other poultry data. Eggs fall under a very similar categories as meat and especially poultry production. So, production values are often commonly found under poultry production rather than egg production. China produces and imports the most eggs, and the United States exports the most, with Brazil following close behind. And it seems like the world's largest egg-producing company is Cal-Maine Foods out of Jackson, Mississippi. Although artisanal egg farmers are increasing, industrial egg production still significantly dwarfs production. This is some data showing the average world price of eggs. Co-packing agreements are common practice in the egg industry. Don't know what co-packing is? It's where one part of production is outsourced to a different company. There are egg-laying companies who sell to packaging companies, grocers, and food manufacturing companies, e.g. a mayo-producing company. Each has their own stake in the production process, and most trading is done business to business. This is how future contracts come about. This is the basic breakdown of all retail foods in general. If you live in the Western Hemisphere, like I do, my general estimate for egg prices at retail is about 30 cents an egg. But if you're not in my local area, this map here tells you how expensive a dozen eggs are in your region. Eggs are found in many grocery stores around the world and are very hot items for farmer markets and local vendors. They also may find their way into common products like noodles, mayo, marshmallows, and even wine. Here's a diagram of production to retail to consumer. The most concerning aspect of egg production is the production and consumption of chicken feed, which is labeled as concentrates in this diagram. Diesel and the early development processes of young hens, POL pullets, also produce a lot of greenhouse gas emissions in egg production. Per gram of protein, eggs produce a relatively low amount of greenhouse gases compared to other protein sources. This is the referral article for the USGS FAQ on eggs, and it claims that for each egg, it takes approximately 196 liters of water to make. However, water footprint methodology isn't standardized, so take this with a grain of salt. So, now that we know what eggs are, time to figure out the most sustainable way to acquire them. There's more or less 4 ways to get eggs. Buy from a retail store, buy from a farm, raise hens yourself, or find eggs in the wild. This model I made considers the cost, convenience, security, quickness, and footprint for each way of acquiring eggs, and I quantified it. Getting hens is by far the way to go for me, but my landlord doesn't allow pets, so I'll be going to the store. If you can do hens though, it turns out that baby chicks are only about $4 each, and they can even be delivered by mail. If that doesn't work for you, check out your local SPCA for any adoptable hens. Look at these babies. Now that we're back in the kitchen, first things first though, and I need to wash my hands. Alright, today we're gonna cook a frittata, but first a few pro tips. First off, the secret to cracking eggs is a tearing motion, not a pulling or a crunching. You see this gunk right here? It's the egg white. The secret to fluffy eggs isn't milk or cream or whatever you've heard, it's just to whip the shit out of them. To make them fluffy, you want that egg white gone, and you want everything to be a consistent texture like this. Now, when it comes to seasoning your eggs, most chefs suggest that you do it after they've been cooked, and I agree. The important thing is, though, that anything green will wilt if you add heat to it. For anything eggs, use medium heat and oil. Neither of us like the taste of burnt milk, so don't use butter as your grease. Wait till your oil is hot before you put your eggs in. For my frittata, I also need to turn my broiler on. Frittatas are easy, fancy, and quick, but you'll need your egg scramble, a mixing tool, a pan you're able to put in the broiler, and some oil. Frittatas require a good egg to pan ratio, so make sure there's enough scramble to not be a thin layer of egg on your pan. Once your oil is hot, put the eggs in, wait until you see the bottom of the egg change color. It should be about 4 seconds. And if you got any ingredients in there, give her a little mix, folding the edges in. When the change in color is about halfway through your eggs and there's minimal sloppy jiggle, toss it in the broiler. You'll start to see the egg rise, and once the top gets a little bit of that golden cooked color, take it out. This frittata is ready to eat right away, and you should be able to slide the frittata off the pan with very little effort. If it sticks, that's an indicator that you should have oiled your pan better. Most things go well with eggs, so if you find something that ruins the taste, leave your comment below. I want to know. And that's it. Thank you for the overwhelming support from my first video, and thank you for the people that have been able to help make this video possible. See you next time, stay healthy, and eat good food.